Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. Appreciate you tuning in to the channel and to the show today. Please like these videos, share them with people as much as you can for me. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate your subscription. It means a lot. We're growing the channel. Let me jump into the topic I want to discuss on this show, which is the expected closure of a whole lot of meat processing plants across this country. And it's somewhat disturbing because we know what's going on with with the war, if you will, on meat and with fresh food and proteins. And so this is just one more example of how under EPA guidelines, this stuff is unfolding right before our eyes. So again, leave comments below. Let me know what you think about this and then how it's going to translate into the actual marketplace into next year. I'll jump into the story I saw was posted on Zero Hedge out of the Epoch Times from Friday. And it says dozens of meat processing plants expected to shut down under new EPA rules. Food prices, especially meat and poultry, it says, have skyrocketed in the past 4 years, and could be exacerbated further next year when the new EPA rules for meat processors go into effect. This is the U.S. Department of Agriculture's food price outlook for September reported that beef and veal prices had increased for 6 straight months and predicted that they will rise 5.2% overall in 2024. Poultry prices also rose, although by a smaller percentage, and are also expected to rise more before year's end. So again, the mainstream people out there telling you, mainstream media folks out there telling you that inflation is tamed, you heard what I just read to you, all right? The meat prices continue to go up. Next year, it says, could see still higher meat and poultry prices as the at the grocery stores, analysts say. That's because an Environmental Protection Agency EPA proposal is expected to put some meat processors out of business, resulting in potential job losses and supply chain disruptions. The EPA announced a proposed rule change governing effluent, E-F-F-L-U-E-N-T, effluent or wastewater limits for meat and poultry processors in January of this year, followed by public comment in the spring. It says the agency's final rule will go into effect in August of 2025, right? So what, 9 months from now? The proposal has met with opposition, it says, from dozens of states, industry stakeholders, and policy experts who fear it will harm the industry, the food supply, and consumers. Says the proposed rule contains 3 possible options for reducing wastewater discharges from slaughterhouses and poultry processors through water filtration technology. But let me hang in with me for a second, because some of the challengers are saying that it's going beyond that, right? That it's overreaching. It says the proposed rules will establish tighter limitations for nitrogen released into the environment by large processors, and for the first time would limit phosphorus. So we say maybe, hey, at first glance, people are saying, why wouldn't that be a good thing to protect the environment? But let me continue. The rules would apply to processors directly discharging wastewater into bodies of water, and for the first time would also apply to those indirectly discharging wastewater via water treatment plants. And that's where, if I'll continue on, that's where a lot of the pushback is coming. This is about 850 of some 5,000 facilities would be impacted by the preferred rule changes, the agency said. Those include large facilities processing more than 50 million pounds of meat per year and more than 100 million pounds of poultry per year. The EPA estimates that under its preferred option, at least 16 facilities will be forced to close, impacting at least 17,000 jobs. So we're going to have an impact to the meat supply, packaging, supply of meat, which is going to flow through to the shelves in your local grocery store, and we're also going to lose at least 17,000 jobs. At the top end, the EPA estimates that up to 53 plants could close. So on the low end, they're saying 17 or 16 facilities. All right, on the high end, they're saying 53 plants could close. So if they're saying that 16 facilities would impact 17,000 jobs, how many jobs would be impacted if 53 of the meat processing plants across this country close? And what kind of a constriction would that place on the meat supply in this country, the availability of meat, and of course the cost, right? What's going to happen? Costs are going to skyrocket even further on meat and poultry. It says prices for beef, chicken, turkey, and pork products are expected to increase slightly, while availability of meat and poultry is expected to decrease slightly, according to the agency. Of course, the agency wants to push through the rule, right? So, of course, they're going to give you the lower end estimate, right? It says states push back. A coalition of attorneys general from 27 states, led by Kansas and Arkansas, have argued that the rule change amounts to federal overreach. Part of the rule change would regulate processors that release wastewater into treatment plants, which is unnecessary, they stated in a March letter to the EPA. The states say that the EPA currently regulates only 171 of the meat and poultry product facilities in the United States. Those are facilities that directly discharge wastewater into bodies of water, not facilities that release it indirectly by discharging it to sewers or municipal sewage treatment plants. So it says by also including the facilities that indirectly discharge wastewater, the regulations would expand to encompass some, listen to this, 3,879 facilities, according to the states. It says the EPA has never before claimed such sweeping authority to regulate indirect discharges, they stated, calling the proposed rule not only costly but unlawful. It says federal statistics show that inflation remains high, they said, and shutting down meat and poultry processors would only aggravate the problem, right? It's going to send the cost of meat and poultry going higher. If you have less plants processing meat, you have less product getting out to the store shelves, and you have higher prices on those products. It says the attorneys general also questioned the data on which the EPA's proposal is based. It appears, they say, that EPA is relying primarily on data put together by the groups that were suing them to come up with the rule. So, right, the tail wagging the dog. So we have more potential government overreach. You certainly could interpret it that way. The environmentalists are interpreting it differently, but it's funny, those are some of the same people. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. I'm just reading the story, but obviously you have a lot of environmentalists out there that also, are, against the meat. Okay, so let's leave it there today, about 8 minutes. That's the story. How is this going to impact the availability of meat and poultry and the prices of meat and poultry if the EPA's preferred rule, that's the more, let's say, more restrictive, more overreaching, if you will, guidelines. So we're talking about August of next year. This will be implemented in some form, all right? So what do? Well, let's see how this unfolds, but maybe it would be smart if you have that extra freezer to start maybe adding a few extra meat items, every month or so when you go to the store. Start getting some of this stuff now. Again, just a thought, not doom and gloom, not panic. Just saying, if this does happen, if you have less availability and higher prices, maybe you lock in some of that now, right? While it's on the shelves, it's still high. Right? If you go look at the price of steak, ground hamburger, all this stuff is off the charts. But guess what, folks? It looks like it's going to go higher. So leave it there today. Again, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing the video, or subscribing to the channel, liking and sharing the video, and subbing to the channel. I appreciate you all very much. Talk to you soon. Bye.